Rain lashed against the windows, wind howled like a banshee. Thunder rattled the old Victorian house, nestled deep within the woods. Inside, shadows danced menacingly in the flickering light of a lone fireplace. The old house creaked and groaned, a symphony of age and weather. Each gust of wind seemed to whisper secrets through the eaves, a night made for both comfort and fear. John, a writer seeking solitude, sat hunched over his typewriter. The rhythmic clatter provided a counterpoint to the storm's fury. He sought inspiration in the isolation, aiming to finish his horror novel. The room was dimly lit, a single lamp illuminating his workspace. Bookshelves lined the walls, filled with volumes both ancient and modern. The air hung heavy with the scent of old paper and damp wood. A sudden rap at the door shattered the silence. John froze, heart pounding in his chest. Who would venture out on a night like this? He rose cautiously, every creak of the floorboard amplifying his unease. Peering through the peephole, he saw only darkness. A cold dread crept over him. The rapping came again, more insistent this time. He hesitated, then slowly unlatched the door. The figure stood shrouded in shadow, its presence almost ethereal, blending seamlessly with the darkness around it. Its features obscured by the storm, the night seemed to conspire with the figure, hiding its true form. A low voice, barely audible above the howling wind and the relentless rain, asked for shelter. John, his better judgment clouded by a strange compulsion he couldn't quite understand, ushered the stranger inside. The stranger moved with an unsettling grace, their footsteps strangely silent on the wooden floor, as if they were floating rather than walking. John felt a prickle of unease as he led the way to the guest room, the air growing colder with each step. The house seemed to hold its breath, the flickering lamplight casting long dancing shadows on the walls, creating an eerie ballet of light and dark. John couldn't shake the feeling that he had invited something far more sinister than a mere traveler into his home. Later that night, as the moon cast an eerie glow over the house, John found himself unable to shake off a growing sense of dread. His heart pounded in his chest, and his mind raced with unsettling thoughts. Compelled by an inexplicable force, John ventured into the attic. Each step he took felt heavier than the last, as if the very air was thick with foreboding. A strange noise had drawn him there, a soft, mournful cry that seemed to echo through the walls. It was a sound that chilled him to the bone, yet he couldn't turn away. The air grew colder as he climbed the creaking stairs, each groan of the wood beneath his feet amplifying his fear. He shivered, not just from the cold, but from the palpable sense of unease that enveloped him. The attic was dark and oppressive, a place where light seemed to be swallowed by the shadows. Cobwebs hung like ghostly curtains, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. It was filled with forgotten relics, each one a silent witness to the passage of time, covered in a thick layer of dust that seemed to mute their stories. A single window cast an eerie glow on a dusty mirror, its surface clouded with age. The dim light created shadowy reflections that danced in the darkness, adding to the surreal atmosphere. As John approached the mirror, he saw a chilling image that wasn't his own. The reflection was distorted, a twisted version of reality that sent a jolt of terror through him. His breath caught in his throat and a scream caught in his throat. He wanted to run, but his legs felt like lead. The oppressive atmosphere seemed to close in on him, and he could feel the weight of unseen eyes watching his every move. The storm subsided by morning, the once raging winds and torrential rain now just a memory. The sky, though still heavy with clouds, began to show signs of clearing, leaving behind an eerie silence that seemed to seep into every corner of the house. The stranger, who had appeared so suddenly and mysteriously, was gone, vanished without a trace. John, filled with a mix of dread and determination, searched frantically through the house, but every room was empty, every hallway deserted. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the walls and every corner silent. John couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Had it all been a figment of his imagination, fueled by fear and isolation? Or had something sinister truly visited him on that stormy night? The questions gnawed at him. As John glanced back at the attic door, he knew, deep down, that the horror might not be over. The lingering dread in his heart told him that this was just the beginning of something far more terrifying.